So in 2018, I was very fortunate. Yes, you're going to hear me right. Very fortunate to get type 1 diabetes. And so the reason why I was very fortunate was because instead of saying poor me and feeling really sorry for myself, I sought help. And I reached out to the smartest person who I knew, which was a man named Dr. Trevor Kashey. He completely changed my life. And so it was my experience of working with Dr. Kashey that really helped me see that maybe the future of fitness, it wasn't in person. Because if I remind you again, like at this point, I still had an in-person gym. And I trained people who were local to my market. The number one goal of working with Dr. Kashey was to help me overcome and learn how to deal and manage and even get rid of type 1 diabetes, which at the time was like unthinkable, but we did it. The second benefit of that was that my body composition completely changed. I went from being 240 pounds to being 180 pounds, which is a 60-pound weight loss. And he did that living in Austin, Texas. And I was living in Bozeman, Montana. And I was like, wow, if he was able to change my life thousands of miles away, I wonder if I could do the same thing. And so I decided to test this with 20 clients at my gym to do this online training program that I had learned from Dr. Kashey. And while the results were okay, I saw enough that I was like, let's do this. Let's go all in. Let's convert my gym into this online training thing. I believe that it would actually be more valuable to our customers, but also I could also help more people around the world rather than just my local community. And so at the time, our gym had about 200 customers and we were doing about $40,000 a month in reoccurring. So the really cool thing about the gym business and the cleaning business is that they're actually very similar models. But I made one of the biggest mistakes I ever made in my entrepreneurship journey. And that was I decided to shut my gym down and transition all my clients over to this online model because I thought that it was a better model. Did I ask any of my clients? No. Did they actually want this? No. And so out of those 200 customers, after we made this transition, we were left with just 8. And the only reason we had those 8 because they were already prepaid, which meant that now we were left with $0 a month of recurring money, but we still had all these expenses. It was rough, but I had to do what I had to do. And so I had to sell my way out of this one. And I was again very fortunate that within 4 months, we had matched our take-home revenue with this new gym business model. And it was great, right? But the whole reason that we had made this transition was that not only could we make more money, but I was also going to get more time back as well. And so at this point, it was just me doing all the sales. So I needed to now learn how to actually scale myself out of doing sales so I could help scale this business. And so that's when I was introduced to a man named Nick Elliott. And so Nick Elliott was another mentor along the way that helped me tremendously. And so what Nick helped me do, he built a recruiting system for salespeople, which allowed me to find salespeople, which helped me to train new salespeople and to retain salespeople. And it completely changed my life because when my business started actually making money without me, we got new customers in that I didn't talk to. I was like, holy moly, how far could this thing go? And this actually gave me the opportunity to start exploring new ventures. And one of those adventures that I explored was the cleaning business. And so me and my wife, we actually started this cleaning business in October of 2020. And I started by doing the marketing and the sales, and my wife, Katie, she started by doing the cleaning. And in 6 weeks, I had handed off the sales. And in 6 weeks, Katie had handed off the cleaning. And so I'm going to share with you right now the process. If you're ready for it to actually scale and build $1 million cleaning business, you can also hire, onboard, and retain new salespeople. So I'm going to walk you guys through this process of how to onboard a new salesperson. So the first step of the onboarding is the salesperson actually needs access to your lead sheet, whatever you use. They need access to your phone CRM. So we use Just Call. You need access to your CRM. It's ZenMaid, not ZenMaid. So sorry for the typo there. You need a scheduler, or they need access to your scheduler. So whether they're going to schedule their appointments on, again, we use Acuity. They're also going to need access to the initial cleaning script. So what is the script that they're going to use to convert these prospects into first-time customers? And then what is the script that they're going to use once they get the first-time customers onto another phone call to convert them into a recurring client? You need a script for that. And then what are their actually daily duties? Like what does a salesperson do in between phone calls? And then they also need access to sales recordings. That way they can hear you do phone calls, or if you have another salesperson do phone calls, and so they can hear it and see it, which allows them to believe in it even quicker. So how do you train a new salesperson? And so what we do is we actually have the salesperson shadow all the new sales for the very first week. After they shadow the existing salesperson, so this might be you, after each call that you do, you guys are going to review it together. You're going to give them little things, little nuances that you did that they're not going to catch unless you tell them. In between those sales calls, each new salesperson, they're going to perform what's called a growth block, and they're going to do this 5 times every single day. And so what is a growth block? A growth block is these 4 steps, and it's going to be them reading the initial cleaning script out loud, okay, as quickly as they possibly can. They're also going to read the conversion script out loud as quickly as they possibly can. They're going to listen listen to one sales training video on 2x speed, and they're also going to listen to a sales training book. This should take about half an hour. So they're gonna do this 5 times a day. Once they do this for the very first week, the next step is actually for them to start taking calls by themselves. And so you as the sales manager, or again, if you have a sales manager, you're gonna do what's called a call review, okay? And so you can do this while you can either be on the call with them, or you can have them record their call. Either way, they should be recording all their calls, but you can do this in the beginning. I definitely recommend you being on the call with them. As soon as the phone call is done, you can give them immediate feedback right away. And so you can do this live, you can do a screen share, like whatever works best for you. Basically what you need to do is you need to be able to give the new salesperson feedback as quickly as possibly can, so then get better as quickly as possibly can. Because each time you get a no, you're losing out on a potential Susan Bianchini. Somebody who might be a $200 sale might turn into $11,000, okay? So this is all during the second week. So the first week, they shadow, they listen. Second week is they're actually doing, you're giving them feedback, and your job is to really see, like, are they actually accepting the feedback? Are they just somebody who's willing to learn? As long as they're willing to accept feedback and they're willing to get better, you can teach them and you can communicate to them. Now, if they're not willing to accept feedback and they're continuing to make the same mistakes over and over again, this is where you kick them out and you bring a new person in. The third week, this is what is going to go, is what we consider ongoing training. So the salesperson, they're gonna do a growth block every single day. So instead of doing 5 times a day, they're gonna do it once a day, but every single day. This is part of their job, is to do a growth block every single day. You as a sales manager are gonna do a call review with them every single week where you give them feedback, and then you're going to set standards for them. These are example standards. These can be different in your business. These are our standards in our business right now. Again, these standards were different at different phases of our business. So I just want to set the frame that you need to set a standard. That way the salesperson knows like what it is that they're trying to achieve. Because if they have a goal and then they know what they're going to try to achieve, and you guys can actually set clear, identified standards, then at that point you guys can move towards something. You guys can work together rather than getting adversary or feeling like you're on opposite sides of the tables, okay?